What up, YouTube? Interesting topic for you today, and this is for my ladies. Basically, I just want to give you a public service announcement that good sex does not equal anything but a skill. It is a man that is skilled at using what he's got in between his legs. And of course, some of that is going to depend on what he's got, you know what I'm saying? But if he's got something decent and he has the knowledge and ability to use it, or more than likely practice using it, that is not an indication of any type of connection between you and him. Alright? It does not mean that he's in love with you. It does not mean he sees you better than any other woman. It does not mean that he wants to have a long-term relationship with you. It does not mean anything that you think it means in most cases. If it does actually mean that, it's going to be preceded by some type of desire or expression to be in a relationship with you. And he's not going to like you just for your body. He's going to like you for who you are. And if his skills in the bedroom are based on who you are, that is more of an indication of potential love for you than anything else. Because if he's the wham bam thank you ma'am type of guy, you're just practice. You're just practice for the woman that he actually wants, if he even wants to be with a particular woman. And one thing you may have to understand and realize as well is, yet some of these guys, and I can't say this for sure, these guys would have to, come up off of this potential issue and then actually confess it to you to be true. But, in my opinion, a lot of these guys coming out of the prison system, the reason why they are so good at doing what they do to you is because somebody did it to them while they were in prison. And the reason why they're trying to make sure that they can humble you or do you the best they can do is because they are probably confused about what happened to them in prison. And I don't know how often this happened or what percentage of guys that this happens to, but if they've been violated in prison, that will mess with your head, especially if you are a heterosexual man. And the violation itself is traumatic, but even worse than that violation, the actual confusion that it may produce, depending on how turned out that particular person is, may make them in some way think they don't like women like they do, and they may be fighting against the idea that maybe they possibly do like it for whatever reason. Not saying they do, but when you have no control over how somebody treats you in that particular way, and I'm sure some of you guys may even understand and know it, but I think it actually takes an innocence, their innocence from them. It takes a power. It takes the power of not knowing or experiencing something and having it to compare to something that you actually want or like. And for a man to be violated like that, it can be very detrimental to him. It's kind of like when you have a situation where a female falsely accuses a man of being like another man. For a man, for that to be said in public is basically bashing his character. It actually takes away, or it actually causes into question. Excuse me. It can cause into question his sexuality with women, with other women. And for men, it's already hard enough to compete, so to speak, with other men for women. But to have a bad reputation in the same regard makes it even harder for that particular man to be successful with a woman. And a lot of women do not understand how bad it is to publicly tell people in public that a man does not like women, he likes other men. In reality, I think he should be able to sue you guys if that's the case, because you are basically dishonoring and disrespecting him in one of the highest ways possible. And if he is mad at you, if he comes after you for whatever reason, that's probably why. Because you don't really understand how much pain that you're causing that particular man. Okay? So, my advice to you is don't make a man defend himself against you. And that includes physically attacking him and verbally attacking him in that way, or disrespecting him anyway. But that being said, going back to the topic, I think a lot of reasons, a good reason or potential reason why a lot of good guys are really good at being that good in the bedroom is because they're trying to prove that they're not the other way. And you really have to be careful of that. And like I said, I don't know if this is a common thing. However, it potentially is, especially with guys who've been in the prison system, you know? And so, for any guys that may be catching a hold of this, I would say they took some from you, alright? They gave you something that you did not want. And that does not make you less of a man, alright? It may cause you some confusion, but you really need to be able to go and talk to, more than likely, a therapist about it. Somebody who's legally bound to not tell anybody about your experience, and then voice how you felt about it in whatever way it is, so that you can get past that situation and then press on. You know? Now, you gotta keep your skills, of course, you know what I'm saying? But that particular issue, that's a hard thing to live with. And so I pray you be able to get help and get over that thing, And that's either way, whether you're going to the other way, the other side, or you stand on the traditional side of men and women. But that confusion can actually hurt you in the long run, because anything that's that traumatic can actually be a distraction to the rest of your life, So, but it's a skill. Love making is a skill, and relationship is relationship. So 9 times out of 10, it's going to be hard for you to find somebody who is very skilled in pleasing women. That being said, because it's a skill, you can teach somebody how to please. All right? And that's not necessarily you knowing what to do, as a female telling the man what to do, but you can at least tell him what feels right. All right? But at the same token, because you're learning, if you can't teach him the right way, you're learning as well. And that means he is learning. So you have no right to be putting him down because he don't know what you don't know. All right? And if he does know a lot, then hey, he might not be the only one. Either that, or he's potentially been married before and learned from another woman. But you gotta be real careful when you're dealing with sex, because sex is like icing on the cake, and icing tastes awesome. It is, but it's potentially really bad for you if you have too much of it, and sometimes if it's not natural, then it could be even worse, you know. But that's kind of get into a weird comparison. But the cake part of it is the thing that's going to give you more substance in the relationship. So the cake is the relationship, the icing is the sex. And ideally, you want both of them together. Because either one of them by itself is really lame, all right? It's kind of like a dude being in a friend zone. That's just a cake. And then the icing would be like you being in a booty call. You know what I mean? You gotta have two different dudes to do the job of one guy, and for whatever reason you have been unable to find that. But I would say, if anything, if you can find a good relationship with a guy that you're attracted to, y'all can work things out as far as the sexual part of it, and that will be more encouraged, because relationship is going to be what keeps you for the long haul. Because at a certain point in your life, you know, prayerfully not, let's just say your relationship is based on sex. Now, for whatever reason, you're bedridden. You can't really have or enjoy sex with your partner. So now, what's going to keep you? What's going to keep him there if your relationship is based off of sex? Potentially nothing, unless he grew some emotions and decided he wanted to actually be with you because of you, not because of your body. But you run into that issue when you base relationships off of sex alone or just relationship alone. And it's part of the reason why it's really, really difficult and uncommon for men and women to be friends, unless they're in a couple's relationship or something like that. It's easier to be an acquaintance, to where you don't really necessarily get to know the person beyond a certain limit. But if you want a good friend in a particular man, that is something that's going to be more dangerous. And it's kind of the reason why booty calls are, guys like booty calls. Guys like booty calls because there is no relationship. There is no effort you have to put into it beyond sex. There may not even be anything beyond one time, you know? And so it could be just a one-night stand. And so you have guys who don't like relationships so much that they will find the woman or the women that are willing to just do the bam bam, thank you ma'am, and that's it. And you guys actually think it's a good thing when it's really not. It basically means you're not interesting enough for him to even try to relate to beyond the physical. That's it. So if you're the type of woman that wants relationship, you do not want the booty call. You do not want that at all. That is the opposite of what you want. If anything, you want to keep that man there as long as you possibly can before anything happens, period. And the longer you keep him there, the more likely he's going to get to know you. And the guy who is decent, he gets to know you, he may potentially stay with you. But you do have the guys who do not care, and they will be there as long as it takes just to get in your pants, and that is it. And so you do have different degrees of bad boydom, I guess you can call it, you know. doing bad behaviors. And you got to decide what you want. You also got to decide what you need in a relationship. But that's for another video. But just remember, a guy's ability to make love really, really good. I'm talking about really knock you down, make you feel good, put you to sleep, whatever it is. That is a skill which can be also based on his natural, size and everything else. But don't think that's an indication of love, because he can do it to you very well. Don't think it's an indication that he wants to be with you a long time, because that's not true either. It just may mean you're available. And if you're available, he, as long as he has desire for you, is going to be available as well. It has no indication whatsoever of him wanting to be in a relationship, liking you, beyond sex or being in love with you. But I just wanted to give you that little tidbit. If it helps you out, awesome. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you got another subject you want me to talk or you want my opinion on, just let me know, and I'll see about putting that out there. All right? But I hope you guys take care. And the goal of this channel is basically to make relationships better, or actually help people make better connections for better relationships. But I hope you guys take care, and we'll see.